Hello, welcome to OCL Soundwave's newest podcast sequence, Splash with OCL. My name is Jessica. This new sequence will provide you with what is happening at the Ocean County Library. We will discuss book recommendations, new materials, upcoming events and programs, brief author talks, exciting news we would like to share with you, and other things worth mentioning going on within our library community. Here today I have Meredith, the Sensory Space Librarian here at Toms River. How are you, Meredith?
I'm good, Jessica. Thanks for coming back to hear more about the Sensory Space.
I'm so excited. We are actually in the Sensory Space right now, hanging out, and discussing some of the great programs they have coming up here within the Sensory Space. Last time we talked about the space, we talked about how it was used and the equipment that is in the Toms River Sensory Space, because we also have one in Jackson, but some of the equipment's different from there.
That's right.
As it is here. But let's talk about the programming in the space that we have coming up.
Okay, sure. The space is, of course, available for people who are using the library and need a quiet space, but we are also using it for some sensory-friendly programming, as well as some self-care programs.
What type of programs are being held in the Sensory Space?
Well, the Sensory Space partners with other departments in the library to host a variety of programs for all ages and all abilities. For example, the Adult Services Department held some sensory meditation programs, which were led by a certified yoga instructor who guided attendees in an hour-long meditation of all 5 senses. The group was relaxed and guided to a meditative state with a focus on each sense: sight, smell, sound, taste, and touch.
That's interesting. I guess relaxing too, yeah.
It definitely was. The lights were dim, quiet music was playing, and the attendees were free to sit in the bean bags or on the mats or on chairs that we moved into the space. And as they were leaving, I checked in with everybody, and they just looked relaxed, they looked refreshed, and the reaction was very positive, and we've had a few people who attended the program who have come back to use the Sensory Space at other times since then for a little relaxation.
Did you join them too and come relax, or?
I did for a bit, so
Yes.
I didn't stay the whole time. I definitely wished I had when they came out and I saw how relaxed they were.
Will there be another one of these coming up in the future?
We are planning some other programs with adult services, some self-care programs such as creating gratitude journals and vision boards. The vision board workshops will be held in February and September, and the gratitude journal classes will be held in March and November, so keep your eye on the online calendar as those dates approach. And those classes are going to allow for some self-care, some self-reflection and mindfulness tips, and also provide some guidance on how to create your own vision boards and gratitude journals. Have you ever made a vision board or gratitude
No, I'm
journal?
actually really fascinated by this program. I almost want to attend myself. I love these ideas, especially the vision boards.
I did one a long time ago.
Oh, you have? Okay.
I did. I was a little skeptical at first, but I kept it. I made it, and then I kept it for a year. And a year later, I looked back at it, and in fact, some of the things that I had envisioned happening had happened.
Oh, cool.
Or if not happening all the way, I had made steps to make them happen. So it was an interesting tool.
Have you done a gratitude journal, or is this going to be your first time?
That'll be your first
okay.
time.
Okay.
That I have not.
Oh, awesome. Oh, that's an exciting program
Yes.
for here. It's something different, too.
Yes, definitely. Something to kind of help you keep a check and, practice some mindfulness tips during the day, and I think those are helpful.
Now, that's an adult services program with you, but any other departments also hold programs in the Sensory Space?
Youth Services has held several sensory-friendly programs in the space. We held a sense of touch storytime and scavenger hunt, where children explored their sense of touch with some stories, and then we had hidden some differently textured items throughout the room, so the children had to find them. And then in the front of the room, we had bins labeled scratchy, fluffy, soft,
That's
and then
fun.
they were able to sort the items they found according to how they felt, and it was interesting because some of the children, something felt scratchy to one and might have felt bumpy to another, so it was interesting to see how they interpreted the different textures.
That's a great one.
And we've also held sensory processing through stories and play programs over the summer, and that story time included a visual schedule which allowed children to be prepared for what was coming next in the program and to relieve some anxiety. We opened and closed the program with familiar songs. And the stories all had a movement component to allow the children to move freely through the space. The young adult department come in. They sometimes bring their teens in during their Zen Zone programs to add a little relaxation piece
very nice.
to their night. And then our SAIL teens, which is our volunteer teen program, they definitely enjoyed the space while they were volunteering here over the summer.
Did they volunteer in the space, or did they come here and kind of...
They came here to relax from some of
Okay.
their volunteer
Understandable.
activities. They came here to take their 15-minute break
Our
and
sales
relax
teams
a
are
bit.
awesome.
They are.
That's good that they use the room to what it's used for.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
you mentioned story times and meditations.
Mm-hmm.
Does the sensory department offer any craft programs, like any sensory crafts?
We don't do them in this space because it is a little hard to bring tables and things in here, but we do partner for a once a month, a Saturday afternoon craft program, a sensory friendly craft with the Makerspace. So we have made fidgets. The Makerspace printed them out using the 3D printer, and then the participants decorated them. We've made squishy sensory bags and other calming tools that our attendees can take home to use as a tool to help them relax when they're at home. We've offered crafts with different textures to explore. We did mess-free painting in a baggie for our friends who don't want to get dirty and touch the paint. So this way they were able to create an art project without actually having to touch the paint. And in January, we plan to make penguins using different materials for their tummies. So children will be able to feel and explore all the different textures they can use to decorate the tummies, either marshmallows or cotton balls, bubble wrap.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So for the crafts, do you play any music or any movies to add another sense or feeling to the environment when you're doing a craft?
Sometimes while we're doing the craft in the Makerspace, we will play music or display books that are related to the craft. But also, once a month on a Tuesday evening in the sensory space itself, we show a sensory-friendly movie. So we have the lights turned up a little bit, so it's not quite as dark as a traditional movie theater. We turn the volume down a little bit so it's not too loud. And we are more than happy to see moving and hear singing and shouting throughout the movie. And we try to vary the movie to appeal to all ages. So some musicals, some cartoons.
Musicals are fun too, especially if they're up and dancing and singing along.
Absolutely.
So I'm a big musical fan myself.
Yes, I agree.
So how do you find out about these programs? If you can tell any of our listeners where they can look up the programs, they see the times, the dates.
Sure. So the best way to keep track of things for the sensory space and probably for the library in general is to keep an eye on the calendar of events. For the sensory space, you'll look at the sensory space webpage, and to the left we have a calendar there, so you can click on that. You'll see the open hours available at the space, and you'll see all the programs listed. Some of the programs do require registration, and it will say that in the description of the program. Others, just while supplies last, so just read the description and you will know what to do from there.
And you can always check our social media too. Sometimes we provide updates on the sensory space and what's happening there as well.
Yes.
This all sounds great. Thank you so much, Meredith, for spending the time with me and talking to me about the different programs the sensory space has to offer. Because the sensory space is just not a space to come and relax and unwind. We also, just from you saying all that, provide all these amazing programs. Some of them educational, some of them discovering new senses and feelings, and that's great.
Yes, absolutely. So we hope to see everybody soon at some programs.